goal for today is to provide you with my best tips for working from home and thriving from home. Welcome to the Live Long and Hustle YouTube channel, where entrepreneurs come to thrive in mind, body, and business. And today we are chatting all about work-life balance tips for business owners, and in particular, how to achieve work-life balance while working from home. Because trust me, I know the struggle. There is a popular YouTube channel called The School of Life. One quote from there that I will always remember is, "Anything worth fighting for will bring imbalance." If you are super passionate about what you're doing, it'll be hard for you to actually shut off and rest when you should be resting and recharging. I've been working from home for the last 8 years, and I do believe that work-life balance is achievable, and especially with the tips that I'm going to share with you, I think that you'll start to feel the same way. Tip number 1 is to have clear boundaries for where you work and where you do everything else. Especially when you're working from home, it's really easy to work at the kitchen table or work at the sofa or work in bed. But what ends up happening is, because there's no demarcation between where you're doing your work and where you're doing everything else, everything again starts to blend into one, and it's hard to turn off. Regardless of how your home is set up right now, carve out a little space where you have dedicated that spot to being your workspace. Now, if you don't have a space in your home that you can turn into a home office, maybe it's one particular end of the kitchen table. When you sit on that end, you know you're doing work, versus when you sit on the other end, that's when you're eating or spending time with your family. The second tip is to decide when you are available. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, it's very easy to just work around the clock, to answer the phone around the clock, to get back to emails around the clock. But you have the ability in most circumstances to set your own schedule and decide when you are available. It may take some time for your clients to get used to the fact that you aren't responding as soon as possible, but most things that they believe is a dire emergency isn't usually a dire emergency. And what is a dire emergency is you creating boundaries so that you can continue to run this business in the long haul. So to give you an example, I used to be a lawyer. If you responded to an email at 4 in the morning, it wasn't a strange thing. Nobody would wonder why you were awake. And so that mentality followed me into my business, and I felt like no matter when a client called or emailed, I should respond immediately. It took me a long time to realize that I created a business so that I could have more freedom and flexibility in my life. My mind was tying me to the way that I was in a completely different situation, and it wasn't serving me anymore to do that. So decide what your own boundaries are and stick to them. The third tip is to realize that work and play are two sides of the same coin, and they are equally as valuable to your life and to your career. Resting is just as important as powering forward. If we continue to run the gas tank all the way to empty and we don't take time to fill that back up, what happens is burnout. What happens are health issues, relationship issues, mental health issues, a whole host of things that I can tell you happened to me when I would continuously run the gas tank empty and not take that time to fill myself up again. One way to break yourself out of this overworking type of mentality or habits is to actually schedule downtime in your calendar. Just like you would have a meeting with a client or an appointment with somebody else, you have an appointment with yourself to take that downtime, and you treat that as a priority. When it comes up, it's not dismissed, it's taken seriously. If your downtime is Saturday, that's my downtime day. It is completely blocked off. I can't add any client meetings into that time. Now, this works really well for me because I have a habit of time blocking my calendar. So my Saturday downtime, it's automatically scheduled in Google Calendar to reoccur every single week. If you want to learn more about how I time block and how I actually use Google Calendar and other productivity apps to work less but actually get more done, you're going to check out the card somewhere up here. The fourth tip is to delegate. And if you don't have a team that you can delegate tasks to, there are tons of other ways that you can get help. And the thing about getting help is that it is an investment, not a cost. The more that you invest in yourself and your business, the more that it's going to pay you back in the long run. First, you can try Upwork, where you actually upload a job post and you will have freelancers that respond. The second way is you can use Fiverr, where there are already freelancers putting out ads for what they do. All you have to do is search whatever it is you're looking for to get done. Let's say you're looking for someone to create a logo for you. You just type that in there and up will pop a bunch of different options you can choose from. You can look through their packages, their offering, and you can choose the one that works best for you and your budget. The reason that it's called Fiverr is because there are tasks on there that you can find to get done for $5. The other way is to find yourself a virtual assistant, and you can do this in a variety of ways. You can go to Instagram and search up the hashtag virtual assistant, and there will be tons of posts from virtual assistants that you can reach out to and get more information from. You can also look in Facebook groups. There are various groups set up for entrepreneurs, and you can just put out a post that you're looking for a virtual assistant. One really great Facebook group that I absolutely love is Society Gal. Make sure you check them out. They also have an app where you can post in the app as well. So Society Gal is just a great community overall to help you out with whatever it is that you're looking for, and in particular, in this case, of finding a virtual assistant. The fifth tip is to take your morning to set yourself up for the rest of the day. For the last 8 years, I tried very hard to implement a morning routine. And there were many things I knew that I wanted to be part of that morning routine, like meditation, exercise, journaling, visualization, a lot of things that I just could not make a consistent habit in the morning, because what would happen is I would wake up, I'd have my to-dos on my mind, and I would just be in a rush to get some caffeine into me and get to my desk. And let me tell you that it did not serve me in the long run, because then I'm doing everything from a place of being reactive, being more high-strung, being more stressed, and I just don't want to live that way. Thankfully, I found the Miracle Morning, and I will be doing a video on this. If the video is already out, you can find it here. I'll link it above. If it's not, it will be coming in a few days. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. Hit the notification bell down below so that you're notified when I post this next video, because you're definitely not going to want to miss the Miracle Morning video. This has revolutionized my mornings. Carving out that time for myself every single morning has been so easy because I have something to follow. I have the structure that the Miracle Morning gives me. I just get up and I do it, and I have felt so good ever since I started to do this. I'm finally prioritizing those things that I wanted to do, like meditate, like exercise, instead of that being a lingering thought the entire day. Okay, at some point I have to exercise, at some point I have to meditate, and then getting down on myself later in the day for being too tired to actually do it. Now it just feels extremely good to think of those tasks and know that they're already done. My next tip is to eat the frog. Now this comes from a book by Brian Tracy, and what it says is, imagine you had to eat a frog every single day. It is an unbearable task that if that's something you have to do every single day, it's constantly going to be on your mind. You'll wake up for breakfast and you'll think, I have to eat that frog, but you'll put it off because you don't want to do it. Then you'll get to lunch and you'll think, oh, I have to eat that frog, but you won't want to do it, so you'll put it off for later. Classic procrastination of a task that seems daunting or something that you don't want to do, but you know you have to do. What eating that frog says is to eat that frog in the morning, first thing. You know there's something difficult that you have to tackle. Do it first thing in the morning so that it's not on your mind for the rest of the day. Two things will happen. First of all, you'll feel accomplished, and that's going to create a domino effect for the rest of the day, because you just knocked out a task that has maybe been on your mind for a while, or you knew it was going to be difficult or daunting. You knocked it right out first thing in the morning. That sounds dirty, but you know what I mean. And you are going to carry that momentum with you through all the rest of the tasks that you have to do that day. The second thing that will happen is you're freeing up mental capacity, because this frog isn't in the back of your mind, isn't something that you keep having to think about. It's gone and it's done, and now you can focus on the rest that you have to get done for that day. My next tip is to become hyper aware of your body and knowing what your signs are of potential burnout or exhaustion or just fatigue, whether that's mental or physical. I was terrible at this, and I would feel stress or tension and I would just put it off. I would keep working, I would keep going. What ended up happening is I developed food allergies. My joints started cracking like crazy. It was like my body was just breaking down, and my neck would just get so tight, but I'd put it off, wouldn't go get a massage, wouldn't take some time to rest. I would just continue working until I woke up and I could not move my neck. It was just locked into place, and I would spend a week in this position. Somebody would come into my office and I'd have to turn my entire body and talk to them that way. It was really weird, but now over time I've become more and more aware of these signals. As soon as I feel some tension in my neck, I take a break, I get up, I stretch, I walk around. If I'm really getting tense, I take time off. I take a real break to recharge and rejuvenate and reset. So just really becoming aware and conscious of what's going on in your own body and listening to that. Our bodies are very wise and they're talking to us all the time. All we have to do is learn how to listen. And with that, those are my tips for achieving work-life balance as a business owner or an entrepreneur. I hope they help you, and I would love to hear what your thoughts are on work-life balance, so leave a comment below. Also, if you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe and share it with a friend, because that lets me know that you love this type of content. And until next time, I will see you in the